Hey guys, Nick here with GearNut, and Olight sent down the M2R Warrior. So, when I first started talking with Olight, they were like, hey, would you want to take and look and do a review on the M2R Warrior? I was like, yeah, definitely, send it down, yes. And this has got to be one of the most anticipated lights of 2017 for me personally. When I seen this at SHOT Show, I was like, I have got to get my hands on one of these. I was just like, when's it coming out? When's it coming out? And it's out. Finally, it's out. So, Olight, fantastic job on the M2R Warrior. There's one little change that I would suggest, but other than that, you hit the nail on the head with this. So, big thank you to Olight for sending this down. If you want to pick one of these up and help out my channel, use the link in the description box below, and that will help further the Olight videos on GearNut. So I'd appreciate it if you did that as well. So as you guys can see, it is rechargeable on the tail cap. So your tail switch is the charging port or the charging connection for your magnetic recharger. And as you guys can see, this is green, so it's fully charged. It's red when it's charging, turns green when it's done. And it's super easy. It's super simple to use. Anybody can do it. It automatically does it as soon as you get close. So I absolutely love that. And just the engineering that went into that, the thought process behind making this a charging connection is just fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's very innovative. It's super, super cool. So you got your tail switch, you got your side switch. Your side switch right here is going to be your smart switch. It's going to have memory. It's going to have the ability to lock out the flashlight. It's going to have the ability to change modes and stuff like that when we get into the light a little bit more. So to start it off, you have the Olight blue bezel. This is crownulated, so it has peaks and valleys. It's got an AR-coated lens. It's got a orange peel reflector, and the LED you're looking at down in there is a Cree XHP35 LED. Now, it has one way that you can get to 1500 lumens. All the other turbo settings on here are going to be 1000 lumens. So there's a little bit of confusion about that, and we'll get into that in a second. But let's start off with moonlight mode. So press and hold. It gives you instant access to your lowest setting. If you press and hold, that's moonlight mode, and that's 1 lumen for 25 days. If you press and hold, it's going to cycle through your settings. So tap it to turn it on, tap it to turn it off, press and hold to cycle through once it's on. So press and hold, it's going to go up to low for 15 lumens for 70 hours. Press and hold, it's going to go to medium 2. So there's two mediums. There's a medium 1 and a medium 2. Medium 2 is going to be 60 lumens for 20 hours. Press and hold again, it's going to be medium 1. It's going to be 250 lumens for 6 hours and 15 minutes. Press and hold again. That's going to be high of 700 lumens. It's a little bit warm for 2 hours. So, just pretty cool. You can turn that off just by a single tap. It's got memory. So it'll memorize high, medium 1, medium 2, low, or moonlight mode on this switch, which is pretty cool. It's got double tap to get to turbo. So that is turbo. That's going to be 1000 lumens. And if you triple tap, it gives you strobe. So strobe warning. You got to do it pretty quick though. So it has instant access to moonlight mode, to turbo, and to your strobe on the side switch. Now if you press down and hold it, it turns on into moonlight, and then it locks the flashlight out. It just shuts off. Now if you click the button, there's going to be a real faint red LED light that turns on for about 3 seconds. And that just lets you know the flashlight's locked out. Here's one thing I would change. When you lock this flashlight out, it's a total lockout. Neither of these switches is going to activate the light unless you hold this one down. So, Olight, I would really like to see you guys take and still have the tactical tail switch available and only lock out the side button, because if I'm carrying this around and it's a tactical situation, it'd be really nice to be able to just pull this out and use the tail switch and get instant access to my turbo and my strobe. But I can see why that you chose to totally lock it out, because it keeps it from accidentally being activated. So to take it out of lockout mode, you just take and press and hold. It turns back on into moonlight mode. So That little red light in there is also your low battery indicator. So it's not really a battery meter, but it's a light that turns on when your battery gets to 10% or lower. It'll just turn on until you charge it, which is pretty cool to have that little feature. That way, you know, 10%, you got a little bit of time to get to a charger, and the charger's extremely portable. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. I actually like that quite a bit. Now let's get to your tactical tail switch, and I'm in standard mode right now. So your tactical tail switch, or the tail switch of this light, has two features. It's got momentary, and then it's got on, or momentary, and then momentary strobe, depending on which setting you're in. So there's two settings. This is in standard mode. So soft click is momentary, that's 1000 lumens, that's the turbo in standard, and then a hard click keeps it on. So your first click's momentary, and then your hard click is going to be constant on, 1000 lumens, and click and it just turns it off. To switch settings, it's really simple. You just do a hard click, strobe warning, it's going to start strobing, and you click your side switch, release the side switch and release the tail switch, and now you've successfully transferred to enhanced tactical mode. So in enhanced tactical mode, that's where you get your 1500 lumens. And that's the only setting that accesses 1500 lumens. So your soft click is going to be momentary turbo of 1500 lumens. And your hard click, strobe warning, goes straight to a 1500 lumen strobe. So enhanced tactical mode is the only mode that you can get 1500 lumens out of this Olight M2R Warrior. One thing about enhanced tactical mode, it's not a constant on. So you have to hold your finger and press that button in order for you to get that 1500 lumens. It does not lock on. It does not lock on in strobe. It doesn't matter how many times you click it, nothing like that. It's just a constant momentary button. So as soon as you click and push this in, it's going to give you your light or your strobe, depending on how hard you're pushing it. And once you release your finger, it's not going to stay on. So hopefully that makes sense. This thing it's pretty freaking sweet. Most of the time, I run around and I just leave it in standard mode. That way I can turn it on at just the press of a button and get my 1000 lumens, and I don't have to worry about it. The pocket clip on here is pretty sweet. So it's got what I call an S-style pocket clip, and you can clip it on a baseball hat, you know, tip up, tip down. If you don't like that, you can pull it off and put your pocket clip over here at the bottom and have it be reversed in case you like one way better than the other. But these little heat sink fins, you see how it's got flat milled spots on there? Well, that keeps this pocket clip from rotating around. It actually locks it in, and it gives you the ability to situate your clip in the position that you like, and no matter what the situation is, if you're familiar with where the pocket clip is and where that button is, it's extremely easy to find your button, your side switch, in the middle of the night, which is pretty cool. So the battery is a big key feature in this light. So in order to get 1500 lumens, you're gonna have to have a special type of battery. Now, they give you an Olight brand battery, 3.6 volts, it's an 18650, it's got 12.6 watt hours, it's 3500 milliamp hours, so it's got a lot of juice packed into it. But this is the important part for your 1500 lumens. This is an HDC, a high discharge current battery, and your 1500 lumens requires a high discharge current battery of 6 amps or greater. So you really have to have a nice current flow out to get that 1500 lumens. So you're going to want to take care of this battery. You know, you're not going to want to neglect it, or else you have to buy another one. There are two springs. There's one down inside the flashlight, and there's one on the tail. They're both gold plated, and it's pretty sweet, you know, really springy. So it's not going to have shorting out. It's always going to have that constant contact with your negative and positive on your battery. So let's take a look at one of the most interesting things I've found when I first popped the cap off. It's got two tubes. It's got your exterior body tube right here, and then it's got an interior tube, and that's required for your tail switch. So those are some contact points you might have to clean at some point, so keep that in mind. It goes positive out, and look at the threads, you know, so you got anodized threads, and they're very square and coarse, so they're going to last you quite a while. Because it's got anodized on there, there is a little bit of like a lithium grease to keep the chalky anodized feeling down. So on your threads on your tail cap and on the threads on the body tube, they're both anodized. So a little bit of that lithium grease on there to keep the chalky feeling down. If it ever does do that, then you have to, you know, don't worry about it. It's just a little bit of lithium grease and you're good to go. So it's got one O-ring. It did not come with any other spare O-rings, so take care of that. Try not to take your flashlight apart too much, and that'll help save on that O-ring. It's IPX8 waterproof, which is pretty standard in the industry. I really like to see, you know, the IPX8. I've never had a problem with waterproofing on these IPX8 ratings. They're really good flashlights. So anywho, it's 1.5 meters impact resistant. The accessories. So it comes with a charging cable, a little micro USB, or actually a USB plug, and then your magnetic charging cable. So it's got the ability to charge on the go. It comes with a wrist lanyard, and it comes with a belt sheath or holster or pouch. Now, I love this belt pouch, but I did have one incident with this belt pouch, and that's probably because of user error. I didn't really think about what I was doing. So, it's got a little plastic button, and you just press that, and it pops open, and you can see that I burnt this holster. So, if you're going to use the holster, and the light is not locked out, let me lock this out so it doesn't turn on and do what it did. I would recommend that you put it in tip down and not tip up like I did. So what happened is I was wearing this at work and the flashlight wasn't locked out, and I put it in tip up, and then I buckled it like so because I was using it pretty frequently, so I just dumped it in there. And when I got into the company pickup truck, it pressed, this little rivet pressed down, and it activated that tail switch and turned the flashlight on. Now, I think I was actually in enhanced tactical mode, and that's why it burnt the top of this. You know, it's got a little bit of warpage, and it's got a little bit of damage to it, and you could smell that little material burning. And I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt for that, because if I would have been thinking, if I would have just threw it in like so, that wouldn't have happened. So if you're going to use this, definitely consider putting in tip down every time. Make a habit of that, and that'll save your holster. And Olight, you might want to take a look at this, and maybe you can redesign that little rivet down here. I understand that's there for water drainage, but that creates a little bit of a problem. But don't worry, if you bought one of these, just put it in tip down and you shouldn't have any problems like that. And the material it's a super awesome flashlight pouch. I mean, it's super smooth, it feels of high quality. The material on the inside is like a microfiber or like velvet, or it's super soft, and I'm kicking myself in the butt for wrecking this. You know, what a rookie mistake. But Olight, it's a freaking awesome flashlight, and I absolutely love it. I just would like to see you guys maybe try to make it so you can lock out just the side switch and still have access to the tail switch. That's the only change I would make to your flashlight. I absolutely love it. It's definitely a home run. It's going to be one of the favorite flashlights of 2017 for me, and 2018 probably, because of the innovation that went into this Olight M2R Warrior. So we're going to take it into the backyard and show you the power outputs and that 1500 lumens. Very impressive. So if you guys are thinking about picking one of these up, I would highly recommend going down to the description box below and using that link and that would help out my channel tremendously. So stay tuned and we'll see what kind of power this thing has in the backyard. Alright, so we're out in the backyard with the Olight M2R Warrior, and I'm not sure if you can actually see that or not, but that's 1 lumen, and that is moonlight mode. Let's turn it up a notch. Alright, so this is going to be low, and low is more than enough to navigate around, kind of take a look around your property, make sure nobody's messing around. And this is going to be medium 2, and now you're starting to be able to see out. You can see across the alley back there. You can see my shed. You can see some of the tree up here. So I'll do it again. This is medium number 1, and that's actually pretty good. You know, that's plenty enough light. It's got a really nice spill to it. It's got a nice hot spot in the center. It gets a little bit of the throw out there. This is going to be high. This is going to be 700 lumens. And that is actually extremely bright. You can see some of my kids' toys they left out here that they're gonna have to pick up, and it lights that big old black walnut tree up pretty good. Alright, so now let's take and do the turbo, because that's what you guys want to see. So 1500 lumens out of a really sleek package, a single cell 18650. This thing's putting out 1500 lumens, and it's impressive. An orange peel reflector, you know, it doesn't have a huge emitter head on it. It's pretty much a straight stick, and that's what I like. It's really easy to carry, and tell you what, there's just a lot of light coming out of this thing. I goes clear over to my neighbor's house. If you go down here, it is just super bright. It's blinding. So Olight, I really like what you're doing. This is a fun light. I'm happy. This thing's crazy. So if you're interested in picking one of these up, check that description box below, and that's all I really got. Go check them out. These things are awesome.